He was rejected by MTV 5 times. So how did he end up quarantining with The Weeknd, having lunch with Patti LaBelle, and being Rihanna's boo? Here is the crazy, funny, and inspiring story of Joey Golja. Once upon a time, MTV's master event coordinator, now a blossoming entrepreneur, and he sits down with us to talk about the wild world of musicians, artists, and Western artistry. Join us as he spills the tea and tells us fun and funny stories about his days in MTV and his current journey as an entrepreneur. Hi, Joey.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Of course, of course. I was just telling you off camera, even before I went to New York, I've been hearing about your Project Barcada. So I thought that, that's good SEO for you guys. And for those who don't know, Project Barcada means a group of friends in our native language. But before we get into that, let's start with your story. You are half Italian, actually, half Italian and half Filipino.
Yeah.
So, can you just tell us, how did the parents meet, where you grew up, and your connection to both countries?
Okay. Where they grew up, how they met has been the story that I've been also trying to find out.
Oh.
I feel like every time I've asked them, it's a different story. So,
What's the story that you like?
The first one, the first story was they met at a speed dating thing. Second, excuse me.
Okay.
Second story, when I asked my dad, he's like, "Oh yeah, I saw your mom at the beach and I flexed my muscles like this." I said, "Oh wow," and then he said they met at the beach, and then when I asked my mom tells a different story that they met in some random dance party. Okay. And then I'm every year I ask just to see where I can get a common answer, and then I can narrow it down. But so I don't know how they met, but they met in the 80s and then had me. Mm-hmm. And then growing up it was cool. It was cool to have both cultures, I was more in tune with my Filipino side just because my relatives and everyone were here. Mm-hmm. And then my Italian Croatian side was more in Europe. So, I was blessed to be able to see both sides. We would occasionally go back to Europe and then go to Philippines. So it would alternate every other year. So just being submerged at a young age to both cultures just really, gave me some diversity and opened my eyes to lifestyles and how it's pretty similar. Filipinos just very happy and hang, chill, but the common thing is food, right? Sitting at the dinner table, being with family, and then just eating, that's how we're all connected.
Right. Okay, so you mentioned that when you were a kid, you thought you were Italian.
Yeah.
But you actually were, but then when you started visiting back home, you ended up in Croatia.
Yeah.
Okay, so how did that happen?
I mean, so again, when I would ask my mom, what am I? My mom is always you're Filipino Italian. So I'm okay. So then I started telling everyone I'm Filipino Italian. Mm-hmm. And then, when I got old enough to realize where we're going for vacation, we go to Croatia. I'm why the fuck are we in Croatia? And so then, and then I got that backstory from my dad, right? My dad said that the area they were born in was Italy. And then after the war, it got occupied by Yugoslavia, divided into Croatia and all the other countries. And then now it's Croatian, So I don't know. I always thought that that's so interesting, right? We never lived through something like that where, it's oh yeah, we're American. And then, we're Canadian now, And so just hearing his story of his life, living through the war and then serving in the Italian military, and then having to, when they were dividing the nations, right, or the area, my dad was saying that they asked my grandfather, "Do you want to be in Italy still?" And if they did, they would have to move, right? So they were like, you could move and be still Italian, or you could stay here and be Croatian. So my grandfather decided just to stay,
Whoa,
and so now we're Croatian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always been a little confusing to have to explain it.
Right.
So sometimes I just say Filipino Italian, because it is by blood. But then, yeah, because of current, like present, it's Croatian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
okay, growing up though, you have a storied, I would call it a storied like professional career.
yeah.
So you were with MTV for 10 years, you were saying, but growing up, what was it that you wanted to do?
Oh, wow. So I actually wanted to be a businessman. It's funny how everyone, people would say like police officer, firefighter, astronaut, right? Every time we would take the train, like with my mom, I would see these guys in suits and just walking, and I'm like, wow, they look important. Ever since I was like, since a young age, I was like, man, I just want to be that guy in the suit, like
Right.
looking sharp, going to work, and I thought that was just a 9 to 5, and then when I finally got into like corporate, I was like, yeah, no, this ain't it. But
Okay, so what was your first job out of college? Was it college?
yeah, college. So yeah, it's funny. My first job out of college in corporate was working at Yelp. Yeah, it was just like typical sales rep, entry level. I did that for over a year. And then, but while I was in college, I had this urge to work with TV, right? And on movie sets, TV shows, whatever, right? There was always that like interest. Throughout my whole college career, I actually I would apply to internships all the time at Viacom at the time. So I was sending my resume to MTV, Nickelodeon, like all these networks, right? And I never got a response back. I didn't even get a no. I didn't get anything, right? And I would apply consistently. And so, yeah, out of college, I started working at Yelp. And then some friends were like, PAing, there were production assistants on shows like Blue Bloods and some other like CIS shows. So they would ask like, do you want to work as a PA too? So as like a side hustle, I was working as a PA on like the set of like Blue Bloods and stuff. And then how I got into MTV finally is, it kind of just goes back to Project Barca too, of where that foundation was built of just like pure kindness, right? I was at a convention helping my friend's photo booth business, and I'm walking out and I see this woman struggling to take out TVs from her setup, right? And I'm just watching her and I'm like, she's going to drop this TV on her head. Like, so I walk over and I'm like, here, let me help you. So I help her take the TV off. And then she's like, can you actually just give me a hand and like help me with the other few? Right. So I was like, yeah. So I start helping her with the heavy stuff. And then we start talking, and then like towards the end, she was like, oh, well, what do you do? So I told her I'm a Yelp, blah, blah, blah. And I work as a PA. She's like, oh my God, you're a PA? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh, I work at Viacom. I'm like one of the senior coordinators at Viacom and I hire PAs all the time. I would love to hire you. And it's like that full circle moment where it's like, holy shit, I've been applying for an internship here for like 4 years.
Right.
Didn't even get a no back or any response. And then just me out of like the kindness of my heart, just wanting to genuinely help someone. She just happened to be that person that would get me into the door of MTV. Right. So yeah, she hired me and then I just worked as a PA for a few months, but I completely busted my ass. And I would just like make sure to be around the right people. I was showing like my ambition, like me wanting to be here. And then long story short, I just get hired as a coordinator. Yeah.
Okay. So can you describe to us as a production assistant, what were the things that you were doing and how, I guess, maybe at the course of your story, but I'm interested in knowing, like you just mentioned, that it isn't just about working hard, but also making sure that you're around the right people, that you make sure that you let other people know that there's something more that you can offer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important. So, I mean, a PA is literally you're doing everything,
Okay.
right? From like if you have to go get water, you're gonna be a runner, go get water. You're on set, you're helping with like, the production, just like overall in general. So like, also like helping with like the extensions, bringing boxes down, making sure like everything what you need for this shoot or event is there. So you're working directly with the coordinator where they have like the whole checklist of what needs to be done and the PAs execute everything. They're that front line that does the like a lot of the labor too, and I mean on sets you have union, right? So like sometimes it gets different when you're working in a union house. But PA is that entry level job and it's in the grit. You're doing like hard work, right? And I believe that that's a must all the time, right? Like anywhere, any position or like dream you want to do, right? You kind of have to do the gritty work, the entry level portion of it, and then work your way up, right? I've seen people skip that step, in the industry. And since they don't know what it takes to like do that, right? They only know what they know. So they're making calls and decisions based off of just like what they think is right? Right. But it's like, you've never been in that position. So you yelling at this kid for taking an hour to go get water, but you don't realize he walked 10 blocks with 4 cases of water in Manhattan. Like, so there's that accountability, right? It's because you never done the job. You don't know like how long it takes. And then, for me, like I tried to over deliver, right? I mean, you have those people that want to chill and, they work slow, take their time. Sometimes they go hide, right? You just want to get through your day and go. But I wanted to be there so bad for so long that I was just like at 100 miles an hour all the time. And because of that, like the work ethic, it's what got me to, work my dream job technically,
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's very common, especially now, for a lot of people to just give the minimum of what is required. But then you got your break because you did the exact opposite. You were giving more than what you were. So can you tell me how did it happen when, was there someone who said, you know what, this kid actually works hard. Let me give you a break. So how did the promotion happen?
Oh man. So yeah, there's like a blueprint, right? Kobe, Michael Jordan, like all these greats who've, made it to the top, right? There's a common thing, which is just hard work in general, right? You're in the gym shooting baskets for hours, while everyone's out partying or going out, they're working, right? There's a sacrifice that comes with it, but you just find a balance, right? You get to have fun too. But yeah, like I said, these PAs, when I came in, they've been there for a year, 2 years, right? I'm the new guy. And, we all PA together. So then while we're on like an event, we're working, they'll do bare minimum and then like go to the side and like disappear, right? And, again, it's consistency too, right? It is hard to keep it going, right? But again, if you are passionate about it and that's where your heart is, you're going to give it 100%, right? So that's where my heart was. And I just, it became effortless a little bit. Because like I said, I wanted to be there. So after a few events, of me just showing up, and again, like when they had huddles with all the coordinators, the locations guys, the producers and all that, I wouldn't force myself in there, but I would just organically I got drawn into there, right? Like the coordinator would be like, Joey, come, like, because
they see you.
Yeah, because they saw me working so hard. They were like, okay, he's like the lead PA, right? Because he's the go-to. Everyone else, we don't know where they are, right?
Right.
So then it like the gravity just pulled me in. And then after a while, they just kept giving me more responsibility. And then there was like one VMAs, right, that they needed some artwork done, right? And I messed around with graphic design all the time. We had clothing brands that me and my friends started back in the day. So like graphic design was something I could do. I wasn't great at it, But then we had an art department. Art department was backed up, and our like coordinator was like, we need some graphics done by art. And I was like, well, what do you need? Right. And so they just gave me like a rough layout, and then boom, Photoshopped like a VMA like background poster, whatever. And then they were like, yeah, it's good, done. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. Right. So then my design was like on posters, like,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, again, the promotion didn't happen like, it wasn't like an immediate thing. It was kind of just a slow process of here's more responsibility. Okay, here's a little bit more. Okay, here's a little bit more. Okay, now we're going to take you to San Diego. Now we're going to fly you here. Now we're going to fly you there. And then it's just like, it was a slow process into it. But and then came from a PA to then working with talent, and it was cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you officially became a part of the events team, by the time that, unfortunately, as you said, COVID was actually the one that spoiled everything. But what essentially was your responsibility as an events coordinator?
So we had a responsibility of everything outside of the actual film, like the filming production, right? Okay. So making sure that like security was all set up, like where the audience would like line up and queue up, like how that flow would go, where all the artwork would go, where's the green room, setting up talent, like green rooms in the in areas like, where people congregate, the catering, like everything outside of the actual filming is what we did. Okay. So then also working with the locations and then deliveries. And then, so we had different coordinators tasked to different things, right? Okay. It's like this coordinator gets AB, this one gets CD, this one, and then we just spread out. Yeah. And then we just all check back in, and we just keep it going. So
and what was the most often responsibility given to you?
Oh man, it was so much. It's just like general setup was like my thing all the time. So making sure things were out of the way for like when the actual like staging comes in, and then
so a lot of the logistics.
A lot of it. Yeah. It's such a long list that there's no one specific thing. We wore so many hats, and even though it wasn't our job, that's where I kind of learned of like getting it done, right? Like, even though this wasn't my task, I knew eventually that had to be done. So, when we kind of finished what we had to do, it's like, here, let's give them back up and let's just start, right? Because we know this shoot starts, let's say Saturday, it's Friday afternoon. Everything on this list needs to get done, right? So, yeah.
So what I'm assuming that you were, if not for COVID, would you still be with MTV?
I don't know. I took a break. So at that time when I was dating, my girlfriend was in Seattle for grad school. This is before COVID, and she was there. We're doing long distance, and like love was taking over. And so I kind of made a decision, because we would go to LA all the time for like different events. So I was in LA like 10 to 12 times a year, for work. So one of my events that I was like part of was Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con. So I had that event every year. So that was on my schedule, right? And so I just asked my job, I was like, hey, is it cool if I just freelance? I want to move to Seattle and like, just see what's up, figure it out, right? I just wanted to change pace a little bit. So they were like, yeah, we'll freelance you, go to Seattle. So whenever we have an LA event, you just fly down. It's like a 40 minute or an hour flight, I think, from Seattle.
Yes.
To LA. So I would just fly down to LA for jobs, and then I freelanced. And so, but then when I came back, I don't know. It's hard to say. Yeah. I might have, but I don't know. I feel like I probably would have. But this passion project of like Project Barca and everything I did is also something that was in me since 2008. Okay.
Yeah. So before we get into Project Barca though, what was I would assume that part of your job is coordinating celebrities, where they should go, the green rooms and all of those stuff. Was it fun?
Yeah.
working with them.
Yeah, it's super fun. I mean, going into the room and seeing all these people you've known and seen on TV and talking to them and like, hey, come on, we got to go.
Who was the nicest person you've ever?
Oh, man, there's so many nice ones. I had Patti LaBelle.
Oh.
Yeah, I had lunch with her 2 times in a row.
Wow.
Back to back, right? So we did an event called VH1 Divas. And so it's all like the divas, right? Patti LaBelle, Cyndi Lauper, Mariah Carey. There was a ton more. I just can't remember. It was a while back, but all divas, right? And they put on this all woman, like, powerful show, right?
I remember
So Patti LaBelle. Oh, no. Yeah, it was Patti LaBelle. She has these cakes now, I think, or something, right? So at that time, I'm walking backstage and I had Popeyes. So across the street of the venue in Brooklyn was a Popeyes. So I got Popeyes. I'm walking. She's coming out of rehearsal. And then she's like, oh, my God. She's like, oh, Popeyes, that looks so good. And I was like, yeah, you want one? And she's like, yeah, okay. And I give her a piece. I'm like, yeah, take whatever you want. And then her manager and whatever, they're like, what's your name? I'm like, Joey. And then they're like, oh, thank you, whatever. And we chit chat and then we break away, right? And then like later on in the day, her manager hit up like one of our head coordinators and was requesting me for some reason. So our boss came in and she's like, why is Patti LaBelle asking for you specifically? And in my head, I'm like, I don't know. And but also I'm like, oh my God, if she got sick and like I gave her chicken and it wasn't good, like I was a little nervous too. And I was like, oh my God, let's see what's up. So she's like, yeah, go to their green room, check in and see what's up. So I go and she's like, honey, oh my God, we need to have lunch. She's like, can you do me a favor? She's like, can you get Popeyes? And I was like, yeah. And then her manager was like, okay, here's a list. Like, we want everything fresh, everything like whatever, please tell them. And so then I go back to my boss and I'm like, hey, I have to check out for like an hour and like stop all this because I have to get her Popeyes. And so my boss is like, oh, just go do it. Like, we'll take care of everything else. So I run across the street, get Popeyes. And she wanted it from me for some reason. She didn't want anyone else to get it. She was like, Joey has to get it because I trust Joey. And then so I get it for her and I bring it back. It took forever because they had to fresh cook everything and she ordered a crazy amount, right? I bring it back and I'm like, hey, yeah, enjoy, I'll see you later. She's like, honey, no. She's like, sit down. I was like, sit down. And she's like, yeah, no, you have to eat with us. And I was like, okay, cool. And so I sit down and now we're just eating Popeyes with Patti LaBelle, her manager, her friends, just all talking. And I'm like, yeah, so how's life? Like, you do a lot. And small talk, right? Yeah. And it was cool. It was like just having lunch with your friends, but then that's like a legend right there. Right. Okay. And it's funny, the next day, same thing. She's like, Joey, where's Joey? He needs to get da-da-da. And so I had lunch with her again the next day and it was cool. So like stuff, she was like, that's one of my most memorable times. But I've met like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna. I've walked Rihanna to the stage one time and she was wearing like super big heels and an all red outfit. And I was like, yo, you gotta go. I was like, we need to get you. And she's like, yeah, my feet, da-da-da. I was like, okay, come on. And then, like, we cup hands. And in my head, I just grabbed her so fast, though, because I'm like, yeah, we need to get you there. And then I didn't realize, I was like, oh, my God, I'm holding Rihanna's hand. And I'm, like, walking with her. And I'm like, you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm good. And then I, like, get her on stage. I'm like, all right, bye, babe. She's like, bye, boo. And I was like, what? Nice. And I was like, that was Rihanna, And then, like, randomly taking the elevator with Nick Cannon. It's like, I would go push the elevator. Nick Cannon would come in, push the elevator. I'm like, what's up, man? He's like, what's up,
Yeah, so that's because we often hear, like, the horror stories.
Yeah. There's horror stories, too.
Okay.
I said the good ones. Yeah.
So let's get to that. First, we hear the writer list a lot.
Okay.
Okay, so you can just whisper the name of the celebrity, but what's the craziest writer list you've ever seen?
Oh, man. Can I say this like on here? It's Mariah Carey. And then, this girl, she's cool.
Great voice.
Great voice, but man, whoa, stressed me out. It was actually that same event with Patti LaBelle, Cyndi Lauper, all them. She was doing a rehearsal, right? And now we're in there. We need her to rehearse because we have, obviously production, you're working not normal hours. It's like whatever it takes to get done, right? So you could be in there for a 10-hour day or an 18-hour day or a 20-hour day, right? You don't know. So like Mariah Carey was like rehearsing, right? And she just took forever. She wouldn't get on stage. And then she was like, I'm not going to do anything until everyone is out of here, right? And I'm like, oh my God, okay. She's like, everyone that's not supposed to be here can't be in here. And I'm like, there's no way I can do that because where they're rehearsing is like a walkway that gets to backstage, gets to thing. So you have crew like in and out, right? And now I had to like pause everyone and be like, God, she's not going to do it if you guys keep walking through. And now it's like a whole thing. They're like, yeah, but we can't finish if we don't walk through either. And I'm like, yeah, but then no one's going anywhere if we don't do anything. So we got to come up with a solution and figure this out. And then she wanted phones. She was like, oh, everyone got to put their phone in a box. Like, no one can have their phone on them. So I'm like, oh, shit. Now I got to tell the film guys and, like, the camera guys, like, hey, I need your phone. And they're like, no. I'm like, just pretend to put it in the box, please. Like, and so I'm like, yeah, I got everything. We're good, And forever, hours.
Yeah.
Diva, straight diva.
Well, that's the name
Shout
of the show.
out, love her. She's great, awesome, but damn.
And was it ever explained to you by the manager or her court? Okay.
No, yeah, we're grinding just to get it done. That those are so minuscule,
Yeah.
It's stressful and like annoying in the time, like during that moment. After that, it's like whatever,
Okay.
So I like OEZ. Yeah, I still love her.
Is there anybody else that you thought was like?
Yeah, there's a few. I feel weird saying names out loud though.
Don't
Yeah,
say the name.
okay.
Just whisper the name.
Yeah, no, there's a few others who are like, their green rooms are like they have special requests, right? Oh, I want organic almonds. I need Voss water and like right? So we'll get it. And then one time instead of Voss, someone got Fiji, right? And this person was like, I need Voss. I'm like, you serious? You need Voss? Like, so then I had to go last minute, scramble, send a PA to find Voss water. We were at Lincoln Center and this dude's running blocks. He's like, dude, all these stores don't have Voss for some reason. I'm like, seriously? He went to like 100 and whatever street and found Voss water. And I'm like, buy all of it and bring it back, right? And then, we bring it back, switch the waters out. The almonds, I'm like, organic almonds and almonds are the same almonds. Like, just leave them there. Don't worry about it. Say they're organic. Yeah. It's all good. Yeah. Because where are we going to get organic almonds when we're on like a time crunch and I need these guys on set? And to send this kid for a 2-hour run just to get organic almonds from Whole Foods, I'm not doing that. But here's the funny thing, right? So we get the water, which is the biggest thing. We switch it out. They do the whole event. I come back into the room. Nothing was touched. They didn't even drink the water. They didn't touch the almonds. They didn't. So I'm like, this kid went out for hours to get Voss water for them not to drink a single bottle of that Voss water. I took all those Voss waters home. I was like, that's my Voss water now. And all the almonds too. Boom. Took them home.
I've experienced, I have one experience with a celebrity who wanted only the blue M&Ms.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
I was like, are you serious?
Yeah, then it's like, here, pick up the blue ones. What are you going to put them in a bowl for you?
Yeah, but I was told, no, that's serious. Otherwise, she's not going to start. I was like, to be a diva.
I know.
Okay,
it's fun.
So how was the pay, though? How good was the pay?
It was great. It was good. I mean, I was in my mid-20s, late 20s, so I feel like I was where I was supposed to be at, like in my parents' eyes, right? It's like there's a certain level of success. I wasn't rich, but I was good. I was earning a great salary. Overtime's good. There was a lot of compensations, with like I got to travel for work, which was a big dream of mine too.
Right.
Like I said, I wanted to be a guy in a suit, right? So that involved like in my head, it's like, a company or whatever sending you somewhere else for work, like, means you're important too, you know? So
Yeah.
that feeling was amazing, like getting flown out, even though I was doing like the gritty, like entry level work, but it's still, you know, it was a checklist off my thing, right? And well,
Okay. So
it was
then
good.
COVID happened.
Yeah.
COVID happened. So everything had to stop. So during COVID, what did you end up doing? You know, coming from a fast-paced life, it's fun. Entertainment is fun. You know, it's fun work. So suddenly you can't go anywhere. What did you end up doing?
Yeah, that was crazy. So once COVID hit, you know, our whole thing was audience-based.
Right.
So we stopped completely, and then we didn't know what was happening. And then, like I said, I've had this passion project that's always been in my heart since like '08, right? We did with MTV. I was still working. We were doing things, little things here and there, virtual stuff. Everything was like working at home though. We did a virtual VMAs where I was like, I had to live with the Weeknd in Greenwich Village for 2 weeks because he had to, they still had like the talent come and perform, but it was like, there was like no staff, no people. The talent would go from the hotel to the venue, perform, and then come back. And I lived with the Weeknd across the hall, and I had to just make sure like he's getting his COVID test. Like the doctor was checking like every day. I had to make sure like the doctor didn't fully go in his room. I had to be there with him like the whole time.
So you were quarantining with him?
I was, yeah. Okay. So they had a coordinator with every talent that was involved. So I got put with the Weeknd, and that was fun. You know, it was an experience. Nice? Yeah, he's super nice. We were just talking like bros, but it was like, it felt like a dorm room because my door was open, his door was open. I was like, oh, what's up? He's like, good. I'm like, you good? Yeah, everything good? He's like, can you get a PlayStation? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we had already started Project Barca at that time, right? So I called one of our board members to our co-founder, Lugo, and I was like, hey, man, can you go get a PlayStation? Like, come here. I'll give you a company card. Just go pick it up, bring it back. So he did that, and it was fun. It was cool. But after that, like, yeah, for COVID, right? In 2008, like, I go to Philippines when I was younger every other year, right? But I grown to love it so much. And so I would go back by myself when I was like 17, 18, 19. Every summer, I would spend the whole summer there. You know, summer fling, da-da-da, love the culture, was finding out about myself. So I would go back to the Philippines without my mom. I would just go solo, you know? And in 2008 in Iloilo, there was like a flood that happened. It was a flash flood called Typhoon Frank. It flooded our house like 20 feet. And, excuse me, and our house was underwater, you know? So then, you know, I lived through it. Like, I experienced this flood and was in a tree, and like we had to be rescued by rescue boats and stuff. And then when the water, like, you know, subsided and it just left like this disaster, there's like 4 feet of mud. You know, we're stepping through, trying to get to the house to see if the house is good. Everything is like everywhere. And then I go, my time's up there. I fly back to the States. And then, you know, just seeing like people with no homes, no everything just washed away, come back here, and then just hearing, you know, people that are, you know, in school, oh, my mom won't buy me this. Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, they were so upset. Oh, my dad won't get me a car. Yo, and then like mouthing off. And it's like, bro, you're lucky to even have shoes, dude. Like, you know, so my whole vision on like materialistic things changed. And since, since '08, I had this passion of helping our people, like helping back home. There's a school next door to where my aunt lives in Philippines, and I wanted to get like books or computers or something to the school. Kids would share textbooks, you know? Yes. Yeah. And it's like, damn, how are they even learning properly? You know, they can't take the books home. They're sharing the books in school. Yeah. Little school supplies, you know? So I tried like starting something where I can raise money, send school supplies back, and I failed like a bunch of times. Yeah, I wanted to help, right? And I failed. And it still stayed within me, right? Then I did the MTV thing, and fast forward, I feel like I needed to go through that whole process, because when I tried to do it the first time, I didn't have experience, any resources, knowledge, nothing, right? I was just out of like high school, like still going to college, like figuring myself out. So then fast forward, COVID hits, had this career working at MTV, and then, all our friends and family were still working. Like, Filipinos, 99% of them are nurses, right? My cousin especially, right? She just had a newborn, working during COVID. The process that was it, like watching it, I was like, oh man. And then, again, this like hustle that I had of just going 100 miles an hour is constantly like trying to work, right? Everything stopped, and then I felt weird. Like I was so used to just moving and getting things done that everything stopped, and then I was like, what can I do? Right? So I just took everything I learned. I was like, all right, let me, and again, this is why Barcata means a lot to us.
Right.
Well, to me too, and why we named it this way. Because when I was thinking of what we can do, I'm literally just going through the Rolodex of friends, like, okay, let's see what we can do. Let's make shirts, right? All right, cool. Let me hit up some friends who are artists and designers. Great, let's make shirts, right? Hit up my boy AJ, Jet, artist, and I'm like, hey, guys, can we like do a shirt, right? And then a history of like trying to start a clothing line back in the day. So it was familiar, right? So we come up with some shirts, sell those shirts, make some money. And then I was like, yeah, let's just buy food from these Filipino restaurants, to help sustain, because now the restaurants were struggling, right? So then did that, and then donated the food to like our friends and family who were working. So my cousins, my friends' cousins, parents, aunts, whatever. And then I was like, okay, time to raise more money. How do we do this? My cousin's a DJ. All my friends, like a bunch of my friends are DJs. Twitch was happening, live streaming was going on. So we all came together. We're like, hey, can we do a 24-hour DJ set to raise money? So we did the thing called Play It Forward. And then we did 24-hour DJ set, made a good amount of money. Again, that process, buying food from all these Filipino restaurants, working with them, delivering it. And then people started like, hey, my cousin works at this hospital. Can you guys do a job for here? Mm-hmm. So we're like, okay, who else is in this hospital, like in the community that has someone in this hospital? Then we would figure it out. Okay. And then we would get like kind of a number, like, okay, 200 meals we'll do, right? And then do a fundraiser, buy the meals, do that. And then taking it back a little, I had this passion by myself, and I was like, wanting to do this. Then a friend of mine was like, hey, there's Deirdre and Lugao who are also doing exactly what you're doing. You guys should talk, right? And maybe do it together. So I was like, yeah, I don't want to do this alone, Mm-hmm. And so finding two other people who are just as passionate as I was. So I hit up Deirdre and Lugao, and I was like, hey guys, like, are you guys delivering whatever? They were doing PPE and other stuff, right? And I'm like, let's just do this together, because I don't want to drive to hospitals by myself either, and we could get more done together. So then we team up, then we start doing that process again, deliver more food. But it got to a point where there were so many deliveries that we were tired of writing, like, from Deirdre, Lugao, Joey, So in our head, it's like, yo, these people are going to get this food. They're going to be like, who's Deirdre, Lugao, Joey? So I was like, guys, we should brand it, right? And so they're like, yeah, let's think of a name. So I went home. I was like watching the news, and there was something that came on that said Project da-da-da-da. And I was like, oh, Project. And it was like another kind of charity thing. And I'm like, Project. Oh, I love Project. I love the word project. What can I make? What can I take Filipino that sounds cool with Project? And I'm like, Project Mahal, Project da-da-da, Project. And then I'm like, Project Barcata. And I'm like, oh man, I kind of like this. Mm-hmm. And then visually, I have to like it too. So I started designing logos and stuff. And visually, if it looks good too, it sounds good. And the meaning is there, right? And so I was like, Project Barcata. So I pitched it to Deirdre Lugao. I'm like, guys, Barcata means a group of friends. We're literally a group of friends talking to our group of friends to make fundraisers, to buy food from our friends and families' restaurants, to deliver to our friends and families who are working. It doesn't get any more friend family than this. So Barcata, I know it's like overused sometimes, but it's so special to us because everyone we work with are either like cousins of a friend or someone I went to elementary school with, or like, my whatever's like, whatever. It's all tied. Like even the businesses, like a lot of these businesses, chefs, the entrepreneurs are like, again, kids I went to high school or knew in high school, kids I knew from like church or whatever, So it's not just, I just met them. Most of them, right? Most of them I knew already.
Yeah.
And so that's why the Barcata meant a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the vision now?
Yeah.
What's the big vision of of Project Barcata?
Yeah, the vision. Oh man, I think of that all the time. And so, I mean, it's just to leave an impact, really. Like, we have like the 5-year, 10-year plan. And I've always, during COVID, I was like, what's after, right? COVID's going to come to an end, right? But what's after that? And we've been a good bridge for community, dot connecting and like introducing people to each other. It's become a platform, right? And so, man, yeah, it's funny that, you asked this too, because I recently had a conversation, right? And I'm like, in my heart, inside, I kind of feel like I have a 5-year window left, right? Nothing really kind of lasts forever, right? This is something actually I would love to do for the rest of my life, right? But, I still want to start a family, there's still like other businesses and stuff I want to do. But, I feel like there's this window of 5 years for me where, everything's like still current for us. But, I just, from the very, very beginning, it's always been to spread love, be kind, empower and inspire others, right? And our logo or our slogan is like friends helping friends, right? If we can inspire, and it's happened, I've already seen it, right? Like there's a lot of things we did that kind of, I guess gave courage to a lot of others to start, right? And we share our resources with whoever. So, to see someone else succeed, it's like, oh man, our work is kind of being done, right? Yeah. Like if we inspired this kid or this person to start their own version of what we're doing, that's kind of the goal. We're not going to be able to do this forever, but passing the baton, right? And just paving the way, like how we got our way paved for us too. It's just like a different, portion of that road, right? So yeah, I mean, the goal is literally just to see that Filipino culture and people come together, right? There's I don't know, before growing up in New York, I feel like it was a little separated and there was like more competition than friendly competition, right? It's always like, oh, no, we're better than them. It's like, yeah, you could be, but you can still work together. You can still support each other. And I feel like we started bridging that also, that it's okay, we could collab together, we're stronger together, and yeah, there's a lot of like signs for it.
Right now you do fundraising and then just do support whatever project that you have in mind. That's the cycle that you're going through. Okay. And is there a business component to it?
No, Project Barcata is like, it's straight nonprofit. Like everything we do is to give back to the community. Oh my God, I'm like so in debt to this. I've invested so much of my personal money, time, just to see these visions come to life. And that's fulfilling me. Like, excuse me. We started doing drops in the Philippines. So we did our donations here. We did over 200,000 meals, self-funded and delivered. And then I talked to the team and I'm like, guys, we should do stuff back home. The dollar goes so much further. We could feed so much more people. And then so we did. We started, doing Philippines drops and doing like Christmas holiday toy distributions. And yeah, so I mean, just working together with other organizations from around the country, right? I forgot your question. I'm sorry.
That was just talking about like the cycle that you're going through. But
Oh yeah.
yeah. So on a professional side though.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what do you have a business now? You were talking about you have several businesses.
Yeah. So it's crazy, right? How again, it all goes back to just being kind, right? I got my dream job by being kind, right? Project Barcata, I started just to be kind, like to share love. Filipinos were just loving in general. You put food, music, whatever,
For sure.
everyone's invited. Let's party. No one cares. Like everyone have a good time, make memories, right? And so when we started doing these markets, we created this thing called Barcata Market, right? That was literally just to celebrate all of us, you know? And we had friends, again, artists, people who had product, merch, and then food vendors. So, you know, market in the Philippines is just, there's a mix of everything. You know, you have the food, the vendors outside. So I was like, guys, let's throw an event, celebrate each other. Like COVID is in the middle right now, but you know, we're like, you know what? F it. Let's do it. Like, let's just throw a block party. So we threw Barcata Market, celebrated each other. And it became, again, a platform for small businesses and whatever to like sell. And so because we did it for free, I was like, I talked to one of my friends. I'm like, man, I really need to make money for myself. And I was like, I could just be a vendor at my own event, right? We have these events where thousands of people come. I could just sell food and I partnered with my friend JP, who's a chef. And we came up with this burger concept called Tito Boy's Burger, right? Me and him both love burgers. So we're like, yeah, bro, let's just do burgers, Filipino style. You know, we'll fix it up a little bit. So I started vending at my own event. So we did Tito Boy's Burgers. And then that led to an opportunity to open a restaurant. And so again, out of the being kind and just doing something for the community, opened the door for me to now have a restaurant where we're making some money, right? So, and then again, the vinyl thing was just a project with me and my friend, but then, it's helped me professionally also because now I was it became a network. If I needed an accountant, it's like, hey, who in the community is an accountant, right? We need a lawyer. Do anybody know a lawyer? And then now this network is just working, right? And it's like, yeah, I'd rather trust Tito, whoever, who's a lawyer than someone I don't know, you know? And so that's what started happening also with others, right? I've seen so many relationships, friendships, collaborations, everything spark just from like coming together for like that purpose of just being kind and supporting. All the events we do, you know, again, go towards a specific project. And
but then there's two businesses that you have right now. One, I'm assuming that you're going to restart the burger business and then your vinyl business. Are you planning on expanding this and making this your, like, this is going to be your profession? Is that the plan?
Yeah, I think being in that restaurant space just made me want to like stay there. Like I loved being an entrepreneur. Again, the guy in the suit, right? And it worked. Like the reason why we closed is because of they sold our property. It wasn't because we were doing bad. It wasn't because of anything else. So we proved to ourselves that we can do it, you know? And I remember my dad, when he walked in, my parents are so old school. So like anything outside of working a 9-to-5 job was weird, right? So my mom's like, do you even work? Like, what do you do? What is Project Work? What are you doing? And I'm like, Mom, trust me, you know? They never understood until I had to like show it to them, right? So I bring them to an event we threw called Manila Zoo. And, you know, we had 6,000 people there. I bring my parents and I'm like, yeah, this is what we do. My mom's looking, she's like, you put this together? I'm like, yeah. She's like, are you making money off this? And I'm like, no. She's like, why are you doing this? Like, and I'm like, there's more to it, right? Like, and I always tell everyone, I feel so rich though. And it's more than any monetary wealth because I feel that fulfillment. I feel good, you know, I feel and there's like, again, it's hard to explain because like after we do a project in the Philippines, right, and I see the recap video of all the kids and the people and everyone saying thank you and all that, like, you know, it hits an emotion. I start crying, you know, and then I start thinking about that version of me in 2008 where it's like, man, it took 10 years, maybe more, for this to actually come to life.
Right.
And that's something where I was always like, as a kid, I'm like, oh, I don't understand why this takes 5 years or 10 years to build. I could do this in a year, right? That was my ignorant self. It really does take time. You know, again, my vision took 10 years to come to life. And that's where, again, it hits home. And so I would love to keep doing this. My businesses, yeah, I would love to start again. Because it's fun. And, you know, it's, I get, you know, we're in a time also where it's not the old school work environment, you know?
Right.
Everyone's getting creative. There's like now people want to be content creators and all this and work for themselves. And so I think I'm just in this space of like, I love food. Like, I love what it does for us. Like, it brings us together. Before we close, like, our burger got voted one of the best burgers in New York by Infatuation. Yeah.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah, and it was crazy. So it was
That's
also
my go-to website when I'm looking for something.
See, yeah, in 2023, if you look it up, we changed our name to Tito Papa's because we had a collab kitchen for the restaurant. But if you look, 2023, Tito Papa's was one of the best burgers in New York.
Right.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Along with all the other great burger places.
Yeah. Is content creating is it in your
Nope.
horizon?
I feel like I'm, you know, when you're the older one now, it's like, how do you use the Facebook, you know? That's me. I'm like, what's TikTok? I really don't have a TikTok. I don't know how to use it. I feel like I'm at that point. Now I don't know how to change the clock on the VCR. I don't know how to use TikTok. I don't know if I want to be a content creator.
Yeah.
I don't. I want to do the content though to like share the message. Really, that's really it. Like, I'm not trying to, do that as a full time.
Just a suggestion, just because if you are working with a lot of people and you seem to have a lot of events, that's content in itself.
Yeah.
That you can make money off so that you can give it back to the community.
I know, right?
So
yeah, it takes a village to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
You know, at our events, it's that, right? It's like, you know, again, we're nonprofits, so budgets, like, everyone's surprised. You know, when people, like, honestly, some friends from LA, they're like, oh yeah, what was your budget for throwing this event? I'm like, budget? What budget, bro? They're like, you threw this with no budget. I'm like, yeah, a little bit from everyone in the community makes it happen. Right. So that blueprint shows, right? It's like, we don't need to rely on the big company to give us X amount of money. We can do it ourselves. Yeah, that money would help amplify it, but the vibe, the love, the message, money don't buy that, right? The people buy that. Like, the people bring that,
right?
You know?
Okay. So you were saying that you think you have about 5 years left in you.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm giving myself that timeline.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But what do you think will make you realize, okay, I think I'm done. I think I've done enough and it's time to move on. Is there like a sign that you're looking for or an achievement that you're waiting?
Dang. Yeah, that's hard. I always now, even the advice I give everyone, just follow your heart. Your heart's going to tell you right away. You ask yourself the question, the first answer you give yourself is usually that right answer, right? So I guess it's that. And then, I mean, I have the milestones, you know, I want to start a family, I want to have a kid, but I don't think that'll ever fully stop me from doing Barcada. You know, I think that this is going to be a lifelong thing, but I think my 5-year window is the window of, you know, we're current right now, you know, it's hot right now, Filipino Renaissance, like Filipino food movement, fashion culture, it's hot right now. So if we want to do anything to maximize, like, during this window, it's now.
Okay.
You know, so if we want to start like something that's profitable, I feel like now's the time. Like our Too Big project.
Right.
I want to start that now in this 5-year window.
Yeah.
The restaurant, 5-year window, you know?
So what kind of help are you looking for right now, or do you need right now for Project Barcada or for Too Big? What is it that if people are out there saying, okay, maybe I want to help, what is it that you need?
Yeah. I mean, every nonprofit, everything needs funding, right?
Okay.
So funding's the biggest thing, but the funding really is just to buy the resource or service. So if we could get the resource or service, that's good too, right? And then, obviously that funding also goes towards like paying staff, people, help. That would help too. If like we get people that are willing to volunteer their time to say, hey, we'll develop your, water bottle and do this. We got you. Don't worry about comp. Then I don't need funding. Then cool. Thank you. Right. But yeah, that's the funding, the manpower, the help. Like it's hard because I was juggling it by myself for so long. I got a great group of people who've come to support. Our whole team has organically and just genuinely came and said, hey, we want to help you. We love what you're doing. We love what you did for us, and we want to help like in this nonprofit space. So everyone on our board and who sits on our team has come organically and with that helping heart, So again, I'm always grateful and appreciative of our team for doing that, but it's also like, it's me as a leader, right, too. So I feel like our internal organizational structure still needs work, right? Because again, everyone's kind of just waiting on me too a lot of times, right? And this is me owning it and then my accountability right here and taking responsibility, right? It's funny because at MTV, I can lead in all day, right? But I had a $3 million company card that I was like, yeah, what do we need? Buy it. No worries.
Right.
So with this, I always felt bad. I would feel bad asking for someone's time and help, even though they're like, yes, like we'll help you. I still had that problem, right? And everyone was like, you need to break out of that because we're here to help you and you got to learn to delegate the work to us. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying, but this habit is so hard to break for me.
I think it's cultural.
It is cultural, right? It's like you don't want to burden others with your work,
culture,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my struggle, right? So, but then the team sits and they're like, yeah, we don't know what Joe's doing. He's like, and I try my best to share everything. And, again, there's still like life, right? I still have to pay my bills and stuff. So, like juggling the Barcada and everything else. Yeah, it takes a lot of time.
Right.
Yeah, in 5 years, I was like, I thought we would be further on, but I think we're in a good place.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, last question. If for anybody who wants to start a business, now that you're into it, doing small business, what would be your advice?
Ooh. Again, be passionate about it. Like, if your business is something that, again, you're putting your whole heart into, if you're passionate about it, you're going to give it, again, 100%, right? So just like it and love it. And then, I mean, it's just also finding that one thing, right? I'm not going to try to go out of my lane. Like I already know like food is something where I want to be, right? Like I'm not going to go out of my way to be a content creator just because they're making $300,000 a month, right? I'm not good at it. So I'm not going to do it, right? I'm going to do what I love and what I'm good at. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to do it and see if it's for you, right? I've tried to start other businesses before. Like I did a photo booth business back in the day. And it was great because I would plug my business into MTV as well and hire myself, like, but now over time, it's like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Like, it was cool at that time. It was a good 2-3 year run. And then, but I don't enjoy it, and then it started feeling bad. Like every time I would do like a wedding or something, I want to deliver the best time for the, the groom and the bride. But internally, I'm like, oh, man, I wasn't enjoying it.
Okay.
So enjoy what you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So if people actually want to get in touch with you, where should they go? And they should be seeing that on the screen right now.
Oh, yeah. So you could follow us on Instagram at project_Barcada, or you could visit our website at projectbarcada.org, or you can email us at projectbarcadany@gmail.com.
Okay. And then your vinyl business.
Oh, vinyl business. So you can follow us. Oh, we just changed the Instagram handle. It's called Boutique Vinyl, but now the Instagram is _boutique.newyork. And the Tito Boys at Tito Boys Burger on Instagram for the burger shop. Okay. Right. We're gonna make a comeback with that this year or next year.
Yeah. I don't eat beef, but I hope they have chicken.
Oh yeah. We got a chicken sandwich.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had so much fun.